Video will give you a visual of the steps provided to you in Excel handout number 1. The first page would like you to open the Excel software. Yours may be on your desktop or from your program or start button. Mine is on my taskbar, so I'm going to click on my Excel icon for my taskbar. When you click on Excel and open it, it gives you a chance to actually look at templates. They have ready-made documents or worksheets that you can use and edit for yourself. There's budgets, planners, schedules, lots of fabulous items that are great. Don't forget these when you are creating worksheets. They come in handy and they make things pretty, very easy. Today we are going to use this blank workbook icon. So double click on it. And now we have an Excel workbook open. Notice our file name is book 1 when it opens. If we opened another one, it would be book 2 and so forth. On the bottom, you will see sheet 1. This is a worksheet that we're looking at. You may have sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. It depends on the version that you are using and the default setup. On page 1, it gives you an image that kind of gives you a tour that identifies the parts of an Excel spreadsheet. The biggest ones are the ribbon. The ribbons are right across the top. And then the tabs. If you click on the File tab, that allows you to save or open or do a print preview. To get out of this, you want to hit Escape or the ESC, and that's at the top left of your keyboard. The Home tab is what you normally use the most. I always keep my tab on Home. Within these tabs or ribbons, you will have groups. Notice the Home tab has a clipboard group, a font group, an alignment group, a number group, and so forth. We will use the font group today and the alignment group. There's an insert tab. It also has different groups. We will not use that today. There's a page layout tab. We will use this today. We will be in the page setup group, the scale to fit group, and the sheet options group. I'm going to go back to my Home tab and get back to our handout. The formula bar is an important item that I will refer to quite a bit during this handout. It is right here. That's called your formula bar. Your cells, notice this dark border on this cell. These are called cells, and the address of this cell we can find out two ways. We can look over here in the name box. It's H4, or we can just look up here H and look over here 4. We've got columns that are identified by letters, and our rows are identified by numbers. So your cell address is named with the column and then the row. These columns go on forever after A through Z, then it goes AA, BB, and these numbers go forever. So you can just go on forever on these spreadsheets. I'm going to move to A1. I want to show you the scroll bars. As you enter text going down, I'm using my mouse roller now. Notice I'm clear down on 80s, 90s. If I click down here, my scroll bar over here brings me back up. So you can up and down your scroll bar as you enter items or maneuver or navigate through the worksheet going up and down. And then there's also one to the right. So if you keep going over to the right with information, you can use your scroll bar to go back and forth. So the scroll bars are important for navigation. There is a zoom button down here. Let me just type my name. And notice when you type something in a cell, you always want to hit enter so that it completes it and it's not waiting for you to type anymore. Otherwise, you can't do certain things. Some people get stuck in a cell and they can't figure out why they're not able to do formatting, or for instance zoom. Zoom, if you hit the plus, it makes everything come closer. Get back to the center, it gives you back to 100. Well, almost, there we go. We are in normal view. These icons down here show us the views. Page layout view, that's a view that if you want something to be at the top of every page, you can go in here and click to add a header. And then if you scroll down, you can click to add something at the bottom of every page. people are known to use date and time, file names, maybe your logo, company name. That would be a naming convention that you could establish or your company establishes. There's also a page break preview. I have other ways that I've been using to make sure my items are on one page, and we'll do it different, so I don't really use that button too much. So I'm going back to normal view. I always want to be in normal view. And I'm going to erase my name and get back to the handout. I'm going to go to page 2. The first thing they want us to do is add worksheets. I have 1. They want us to have 9. So I'm going to click on my plus sign until I have sheet 9. 9 sheets. You may have an icon that is basically a new sheet icon, and you click on it until you have 9 sheets. So some of you may only have to click it 6 more times because you have 3 sheets. So let's all get 9 sheets. Then we want to make sure that we're back on sheet 1, and the next thing they would like us to do is name sheet 1. So I'm going to double click right on the word sheet 1. It makes it gray or highlighted, and type right over it, stone. Then you want to click out of that tab. Again, you don't want to be stuck in there and the computer's waiting for you to type something. So we have identified our sheet 1 and named it. We are going to page 3 and we're going to start entering text. On the handout, it gives you a column of cell addresses. That's where you're going to type the text entries that are in the second column. So the first cell address is A1, so I'm going to click in A1, and I'm typing Dutch, which is masonry. Enter. Enter brings us down to A2. Do not worry about masonry spilling over into B. I will explain that later. Just continue to hit enter and type. Date. Notice, when I started to type date, it's asking me, do you want Dutch's masonry? I don't, so I just continue to type date. But that's called autocomplete, and sometimes that's nice because yes, I do want it, and you just hit enter in it and you don't have to type it. So that's called autocomplete. So I'm going to type date. Project should be an A3 with a colon. A4, attention abbreviated with a colon. A6, so we want to go to A6, and we're going to type building material. Then we want to go to A9. Now, I just want to show you, I'm going to go to A8, and I'm going to type trash enclosure material. Whoops, trash. And when you make errors, you can just click right back in there and edit. Now, I want that to be an A9, so I'm just going to show you this in case you have made an error. I'm going to click on the active cell. I want to move this text down to A9. When you point to an active cell, typically you have a fat white plus sign, and that's what you want to use when you hold down to select items. But if we want to move something, you want to hover your mouse right over the border of that active cell until you see four-headed arrow, a four-headed arrow. Hold down the left button and then drag it to A9. So that's how you move stuff, really easy. I'm going to go to A12, retaining wall material. Then they want us to go to A15, rental. A18, supervision, sublead. Then we go to A19, WHS, management fee. A22, project details. And then forward slash. The forward slash is where your question mark is by the right shift. You don't do a shift, you just type the question mark and you'll get the forward slash. Capital VE. Then the last text in column A is A26. So move down to A26 using your enter key and type additional notes with a colon. Okay, so we have finished A. Make sure you hit enter when you're finished typing notes in the column so that it's not waiting for you to add more. Notice, I'm going to scroll up, and all of these items are spilling over into B. I would like all of this text to fit in the A column. So they call this auto fit. In order to auto fit column A so that all of my text, so that the longest line of text fits, you want to take your mouse once again and hover it over the line between the A and B area and double click. And I just auto fit everything into one cell. So we did our auto fit, and that was page 3. And I'm turning the page to page 4. These also show you images of what your screen should look like, but since you're looking at mine, we're just going to move along. We want to go to column B, and we're going to type in B1, plans, type with a colon, B2, plans, dated, with a colon. Whoops, I made an error. Now, I already hit enter, so in order to edit my B2, I've got to go up here and either double click. Notice I've got my cursor. I tend to go up here in this formula bar. Notice everything that's in a cell. I'm going to click around here just to show you. Do you see how everything shows in the formula bar whatever's in that cell? So I'm going to go down here to B, and I'm going to edit it up here. I tend to do that a lot. Plans dated. Next is addendums included with a colon. Start date with a colon. And the last should be in B5, manufacturer, / again, and then vendor. Now, again, the B column. We would like everything to fit in the B column. The longest line of text should fit in the B column. So we want to click on the line between B and C and double click. And now everything fits. Your column A and column B text should fit within the columns. Moving along to number 5. I'm sorry, page 3. This time we are going to start typing headings that go across in row 5. So notice they want us to start in C5, and we're going to go to C5 and type the word type. Now, to get to D5, I'm going to the right. I'm going to use my tab key. Hit the tab key and type color. Hit the tab key to get to E5 and type extension. F5, estimated quantity, abbreviated. G5, unit price material, abbreviated. H5, total material cost. I5, unit price labor. Notice I'm not worrying about this spillover. Let me type that again. When I type, I do not worry that it goes over to J. I just hit the tab key. Even though that labor's sitting there, you're really not typing over it. Start typing total labor cost. And then make sure you hit enter. Now, I want to show you again why this formula bar is important. If I click on H5, notice I only see total MTL with a little bit of piece of cost. But if you look up here in the formula bar, it tells you exactly what is in that cell. If I click on I can tell exactly what's in that cell. J, exactly what's in that cell up here. And notice there's nothing in K. See how it's empty up here? Even though you see the word cost, it is not in the K cell. And for organizing and totaling and formatting, we want everything to be in its own cell. So the next thing that I noticed, and this is where we're going to go on page 5, notice this dotted line. It's right between G and H. That means if I were to print this, all of these items over here after H would be on the second page, and we don't want that. We want this all to be on one page. So the first thing that we're going to do is the orientation is important. The orientation of the worksheet, you can either have more items to the left and right or more items up and down. Right now it's in portrait, so the dimensions of the right to left are smaller. Then the 8.5 is going across instead of, we want the 8.5 to be across and the 11 to go left to right. I don't know if I said that right, but let's do it and you'll see. We want to go to page layout, click on orientation and choose landscape. Now look what happened. Do you notice how my page ends now between J and K? Don't fret, we'll fix that later, but we did get it moved over a little bit. So we are going to page 6. And page 6, well, page 6 actually is what we just did. And then we are going to do some additional formatting. Instead of auto-fitting column H and column I and column J like we did for A and B, we're going to do something that's called wrap text. Before we can format a cell, we must select it. So they would like us to select a range, and notice how they typed the range. When you see a range, it says select B5 with a colon in between J5. That means select that entire range. So I'm going to click on B5, and then with the fat white plus sign, you want to hold down your left button and drag the mouse through J5. Now don't worry that this B5 is still white. Sometimes people think that that's not selected because it didn't turn gray. That's not the case. We have the range selected. You can tell by the dark border. So we've selected the range. We're already at our page layout tab because we just did our orientation. And so now we're at our page layout tab. We need to go to our home tab. And we want to click on, in the alignment group, wrap text. Now, isn't that nice? It wrapped the second line down to the bottom, but within the cell. Now, looking at this, there is one column where extension, look how the end's kind of carried down. We don't want that end there. So there is one little item that we're going to have to edit. We want to just widen row E, not auto fit, but widen. So to widen a column, hover your mouse up here till you get this double black-headed arrow. Hold down the left button and drag to the right until extension fits. So now we have extended our column, widened our column to fit the word extension. The next thing we're going to do is format this text. Right now our text is Calibri and 11. That's if you have 2013. Yours may be different depending on your default. We would like to select all of the text and change this Calibri to Arial. We're going to change the size from 11 to 14, and we're going to make it all bold because these are all headings, either left headings or our column headings over here. So we want to do this all at once. So to select all of this text that we just entered, there is a select all button right up here between the A and the 1. It's a triangle. Click on that. Now all of the text is selected. We can go up here to the drop down arrow for Calibri and choose Arial. Go to the drop down beside 11 and choose 14. And then click on bold. B for bold. So now we've made everything stand out more because they're columns. One thing I notice again is this extension. Again, it wants to break up the word. So I'm going to go up here and move my column E to make extension fit better. And we are finished with the formatting, page 7, and we're moving to page 8. Page 8 actually gets us to do, that gives you the instructions to do what we just did. Now, we have 4 ranges that we are going to add even more, make stand out even more. We're going to add some fill or some fill color. So we're going to select 4 ranges and change the fill color to 4 different ranges all at once. So the first range they want us to select is A6, through J6. Select that range. Now, in order to select additional ranges, we want to hold down the control key on our keyboard. It is lower left CTRL. Hold it down and leave it held down. Then select A9 through J9. Leave the control key held down. Do not let it go. Select A12 through J12. Keep that control key held down. Select A15 through J15. Now you can let go of your control key, and notice we have 4 ranges selected. We want to change the background fill color, and that's the bucket up here. So you want to click on the fill color or the bucket drop down arrow, and we chose this first gray up here in the theme colors. Notice all of these colors have a name. This one is named Gray 50% Accent 3. So let's click on that. And then to tell what we just did, you kind of have to click in any cell. And now you can see that we made those 4 items stand out even more. And that got us through page 8. They wanted us to do a little bit more final touches to the document, and that moves us into page 9. And when I say final touches, this just means final touches for formatting. We want to make A and B wider, and I'll tell you why. We want someone to be able to click in A and actually type information after that colon. So let's make column A wider so that we actually have room to go in there and type items. B, we want them to type, so we're going to go like this. I might have made this a little bit too wide. About like that. So that gives them room to go in there and type. A lot of times you'll do a whole extra column after that, and they would just type right here, and they may do that for C. But over here, they're going to you have to double click so they can type their data. So we've made those columns wider. We also want to notice, since we've moved things over so much, we've got to get this page break fixed. Now, I've been using this trick. Go to your page layout tab. Actually, do you see how I'm stuck in this A2? So it won't let me, everything's dimmed up here. I have to click out or hit enter to get out of that cell because it's waiting for me to type more. So that messes people up a lot. And notice it's happened to me quite a bit. So now I can see my items in page layout. I want to go to the scale to fit group, click on automatic, and make it 1 page. Now it will all fit on 1 page. And at this time, I would like us to take a look at what this is going to look like if you were to print it. Notice that, well, let's do this. If you click on File and do Print, do you notice how our print preview, well, there aren't any lines there, but on the worksheet we could see lines. So let's hit Escape, ESC, top left, and in order for the lines to show, right here on the page layout tab, you would click on grid lines right there, print. Now I have you adding headings too to print. Typically you wouldn't do that, but this is an exercise, so I just did that so you'd know you could do it if you ever want to. Now go back to your File tab, click Print. Do you see your lines? This is what your screen should look like. At this time, before we start entering formulas, I would like us to save this document since we're right here, and we're going to click on Save As. I'm going to My Documents folder, and let's name this Excel Handout number 1. And we want to make sure we know where we save these worksheets. We may need them at a later date to open and expand upon them. So I'm going to click Save. Now, we're going to do a little bit of stuff with data now. I am moving to page 10, And we're going to enter some sample data so that you can see how our formulas work. So on page 10, it would like us to go to A7 and type the word sample. Now notice when I typed, it gave me, let me go back to home. Well, that's right. Let's just type sample. I forgot we made it large. So I'm typing sample, then I want to go to F7, and type 1000. And then I want to go to G7 and type 25. And we're going to go to I7 and type 35. Just a little bit of data entry. We're just acting like that's a sample building material. We need 1,000 of it. Our material costs 25 and the labor costs 35. So going down to the next step, we know that total material cost, I'm going to click in H7 right now. We know that our total material cost would be our unit price multiplied by our estimated quantity. So we are going to type a formula in H7 that multiplies the numbers in F7 and G7. We don't want to just type 1,000 times 25 because we want to use a cell address so that if we change those numbers, the formula solution will automatically see the change. So let's do it so you can see. In order to enter a formula, the first thing you do is type equals. That tells the computer this is going to be a formula. Then we don't have to type the letter F7. We can just click on it. Click on F7 so that the formula is going to look at whatever's in cell address F7. To multiply, you want to use your asterisk or your star. I use my number keypad, so there's a star right above the 9. Or you can do shift with the number 8 on the left side. But I use my number keypad. It's much more convenient. So now my formula is saying, formula, this is a formula, take F7, multiply it by G7. So I click on G7. And then you hit enter. You should have your solution showing in cell H7. You should see 25,000. Let's go back to H7 where you just were. Make it active. Notice up here in the formula bar it tells us how we got the 25,000. We did F7 times G7. Now let's go to J7. J7 is total labor cost. In order to get total labor cost, you would multiply the unit price labor times that estimated quantity. So we always want to type equals. I'm going to click on the estimated quantity times, and I'm going to click on I7. So you should have a formula in J7 that says take whatever's in F7 and multiply it by whatever's in I7. Hitting enter gives you your solution. So now you should see 35,000 in J7. Again, if I click in J7 and make it active, I can see the formula that I used to get that 35,000. Moving right along. We are moving down to, actually we've finished page 10 and we're moving to our last page. And this last page kind of shows you, this is called a what if analysis. So we're going to do some things to show you the what if analysis that is so wonderful in Excel. Let's say that this 1,000, I decide to change it to 2,000. So I go to F7 and type 2,000. When I hit enter, I want you to watch H7 and J7. Notice the formula automatically used the 2,000 because we used the cell address in the formula. And that's a big benefit of Excel. We're going to stop now for this Excel handout number 1. Thank you very much.